Hi YouTube, welcome back. This is another video of watching someone who doesn't know what they're doing at all take stuff off a Jaguar XJS. So in this video I take off the steering wheel and remove the dash. I've done that in preparation for getting these panels welded in. I don't know if I'm going to do that or get someone who knows what they're doing to do that. We'll discuss that in the future. There's even more to and fro in this video than normal as I fumble my way through the dash removal. I spent quite a long time undoing things that didn't need to be undone and then doing them back up again when I realised that's the case. I also removed the centre console trim. Not entirely sure you need to do that at all. But I'm sure in amongst all the nonsense there'll be some useful information for someone out there. So enjoy. Let's get started on the steering wheel. So I don't have any instructions, as per usual. I've watched someone else's YouTube video though, so hopefully I have some idea of what I'm doing. I have disconnected the battery. I'm not going to go through that. If you don't know how to disconnect a battery, go to a garage, I think is probably the advice. So apparently under here, yeah, that's what they told me would be there, and that is what is there, is 3 screws holding in this bit of lower plastic or cowl. So go get a screwdriver and get them out. Maybe that one, maybe that one. Definitely not that one. Maybe that one. Have we got a connection there? Feels good. I think I'm unscrewing something. Did that fall out? I don't know. Oh, there it goes. The answer is no, it didn't fall out when I thought it had. Let's go for the shorter version for here. There we go. That's that. And where's the other one? I can't remember now. There. Is it? Oh, I'm going to have to take the camera off and use the camera to have a look. Yes, it is over there. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. Okay, let's just retrieve that one. Yeah, they're all the same length. Just put those there where they can disappear down the back of the chair. Okay, so that should now come off. What's stopping that from coming off? Okay, I had a bit of a look. It's just got to come over that thing that does the steering angle thing, and you do just need to pull it. It is open-ended. That's what I wanted to check. I didn't want to just, you know, heave on it and then hear cracking plastic. What was next on that other person's YouTube video? He turned the steering wheel. Excuse me, I'm going to need some light, but he turned the steering wheel and then had a look for some bolts or nuts behind. Let's have a look. Okay, yeah, I was just turning the steering wheel to find said nuts. So there's one there and there's one on the opposite side. But obviously the steering lock has come on, so I need to go get the key. Found the key. Let's just release the steering lock. Right, I need to find out what size those nuts are and turn the wheel, undo that one, turn the wheel, undo that one, and then there's a bit more faff goes on in the middle. 13mm, maybe? Let's try that. And we're going to need a ratchet. The video I watched said you need a slim ratchet, and there's probably a reason for that. Right, I've got you sat on the floor looking up. So there is our first nut. It does appear to be a 13mm. Question is, can I get to it with a normal ratchet? It does appear to be the case. So we'll undo that one. So there's one nut. Let's pop that there. And then there should be, steering lock's come on again. There we go. Should be another one up under there. It's in the socket. So that's two. Now then, now things get a bit more complicated. There's a little door here that must open somehow, and under there is the final bolt, but there's a thing that stops the bolt turning apparently. So I first need to figure out how to open this flappage. Maybe I need something just to lever it. We'll get a screwdriver or something. Okay, screwdriver seems to do the trick. Well, it's on quite a stiff hinge. Oh, it's got a spring there holding it down. So I'm going to need that. Do you have to make it this complicated, really? Why? Why can't there just be a third nut? So I'm going to have to try and find a way of keeping that open. What the fuck is going on here? What's all this? Let's get the camera up. Let's get this blocked open somehow, and then get the camera in there and have a look. Right, let's just see if we can make a cable tie chain type affair. Okay, flap is up. Now I can get in there with the camera with the torch on. Okay, I didn't really understand. To be honest, the other YouTube video that I watched kind of just brushed over this part. This is why I go into things in such detail, because when you brush over things, then someone goes to try and do the same job. It's really annoying because you kind of don't really understand until you see it. But now it makes sense. So under there is a thing. I'm not sure what thread that is. That's not a thread, is it? It's a weird tool thing, semicircle. So they did say some long nose pliers, and that makes sense now. So get some long nose pliers on there, turn that. That's going to release this gate, door, lock, security thing. I don't know why there's such a convoluted way of getting to that nut, but anyway. While I was editing, I actually saw something that I didn't see while I was taking this apart, and that is on the back of this lid. If you turn the steering wheel upside down or whatever, there's some stuff. So that kind of clears up what all that complicated mechanism is for. It's to actually arm or disarm the airbag. I just thought I'd better put that in. It does say, for full instructions, see manual, which is probably what you should do. Yes. And actually, just looking from the front, that makes even more sense, because this is it in its disarmed position, where the bolt is threaded out, and this one is threaded in, and that's in its armed position. So when you thread that thing in, it must be interacting with something on the back of the airbag module. In fact, I could just get it out and have a quick look. So I've just got the airbag out, and sure enough, on the back is a thing that gets pushed in, and that must arm it or disarm it. Okay, well that sort of explains why there's such a complicated thing on the back. So I apologise, Jaguar, for complaining at you, but it's still a pain in the ass. Let's turn that. That should push that out of the way, and then we can get on that nut. Hopefully. Maybe that's why I need the slim line. Maybe there's not enough gap to get a socket in there. This stupid flap. Well, that video that I watched did not prepare me for how annoying this is. So that random shape is sat down in a recess in that plastic thing. I just realised I could make life slightly easier for myself. So I've got out the, if my phone will zoom out, I've got out the wheel that I will be fitting eventually. So I've managed to, after much searching, source one of these later wooden inlay steering wheels, which nicely matches all my veneers. So I'm very happy about that. Wasn't happy about the price, but you know. But that does mean I just realised this bit will be on the other wheel, so at least I can have a practice run off the car, because I'm really struggling, and you'll see why in a sec, to get on this little semicircular thing. It's very delicate to get the pliers on. They just want to keep slipping off. And I also wanted to check I was turning it the right way. So I think the idea is we've got to wind this out, which I'm making look easy now. Well, I'm not actually. It's incredibly difficult to do in situ. There will be a specific tool, and what I'm thinking is whether I can make something instead of having to do this like this, now that I've got one here to play with. Is that enough? Aha! Right. God, I've got to hold that back whilst getting on there. Jesus Christ, Jaguar. Why did you have to make this so complicated? I've been doing a bit of investigating. This is some stupid imperial size, 3/16, whatever that means. How did we survive with imperial? Yeah, 3/16 socket. Once it's protruding, is just enough to get a bit of an angle. It's a bit half-arsed, but it's... I can't remember how I was doing it now. There you go. There's the flat. So I need to angle away from the flat. And that is sort of working. And then once it's out far enough, that does its thing. So I'm just thinking, if I pop a bit of hot glue in there and then press it on there and let it cool, hopefully pull it off and it'll stay in there, I'll basically have a key. That's what I'm thinking, because trying to do pliers is just not working. I'm just wasting time while I wait for the hot glue gun. I'm wondering if I can pop out the horn button on the other wheel. That one's perfect. I'll have a perfect one, probably, which depends which one you use the most, I guess. But that one's faded slightly on this wheel. There's a bit of poo up in there as well. That's nice. I will obviously clean this up before I fit it. But yeah, I wonder if I can just... May as well have a look at that now while I'm waiting. What if we can just get a thing up behind these? Do they just pop off? Oh, I think it's... Yeah, it's levering out. That's promising. Oh, look at that. Yeah, they're easy to exchange then. Oh, that's good. I didn't realise they were literally just a little unit. That's good to know. I'll pop you back in there for now. Good. Well, as long as I've got a non-faded one on my other wheel, then we're winning there. Oh, that's made my day, that is. I didn't realise they'd be so easy to interchange. Right, how are you doing? That might have just worked. I can see a nice flat there. I'm going to let that properly cool, and then I'm going to test it out. It didn't work. The glue just unravelled itself immediately. Plan B is I put hot glue on it and then stuck it on the actual one I'm trying to take off. I've just let it cool. Let's see if this does anything. I think that is working. Okay. Well, it's not a long-term solution, but that did save me a lot of faffing about. I had to get it started with the pliers, but that did work for the main event, if you like. So now I've got to figure out a way to hold that flap back whilst undoing that last nut. Maybe just push it to one side. Maybe that's the way to do it. And this is where you need your thin ratchet, isn't it? That's why they said you need a thin ratchet, because you can't get in there with a normal ratchet. Of course you can't. So what do I do about that? I don't know, Michael. Well, you're the one who started this job, Well, I know. I didn't know it was going to be this difficult. Well, didn't you watch someone else's YouTube video? Yes, I did. Well, didn't they tell? Yeah, they didn't tell me it was going to be this difficult. They made out that it was a kind of 10-minute job. Let's start off with a small 13. Yes. Okay. Can I just get on there with a small? Oh. Oh, you know what? Well, you don't need a little ratchet. You just need a small 13. Is that off? Well, I don't know because I can't feel what it's doing because this stupid flap keeps coming back to attack me. Ladies and gentlemen, I do believe the airbag is about to be released in a non-bomb way. I think that's it. Right, well, the rest of it should be fairly simple. Should just be a case of getting a impact maybe on there. I need to make sure I mark where it needs to go back to, don't I? Probably. I've just spent quite a long time faffing about wondering whether I should mark where the steering wheel is, but seeing as the steering rack isn't attached, then it doesn't really matter, does it? I don't think. When I come to put everything back together with the steering rack and the subframe and everything, then I'll just have to figure out where straight is, I think. So I'm going to stop worrying about it and just take that off. So that's just a single nut, and it's got a washer built in. I don't want to put that on there really, put that down there. One wheel. God, if it wasn't with the airbag, that would be so simple. So yeah, I guess when I put it back together, I've just got to kind of find where straight is, but at the minute I can't really do that. Ooh, yes, I've got at least one. That one's perfect, that one's not far off perfect. Horn buttons to transfer. That's going to get turned anyway. Okay, it's now beer time with the neighbour. Ugh. Ugh, wish I hadn't touched that. That can just sit down there. That'll be a spare. Ooh, do you know what? I might just slot the other wheel on. I just want to see what it's going to look like. I need to wipe this poo off my finger first, though. Let's see if I can do this without getting in the car, and then I can just stand back and admire. Uh-oh. Oh no. Why are you a different size? Oh. I mean, I don't think it really matters. I think I can hopefully exchange that bit in there. What you're watching here, by the way, sped up because it's a load of nonsense, is me faffing about taking off what I thought was the sort of centre boss spacer thing that would be interchangeable between each wheel, and therefore fixing that problem of having a different size spindle. That's a lovely bit of machining, that is. Then, with a crushing moment of realisation, after removing said boss, I realised I was being utterly retarded, and you can just pull out that spindle spacer without having to undo anything. What the fuck? Don't tell me that just lifted out anyway. Are you joking me? Am I really that retarded? Yeah, that literally just... I could have just lifted that out, couldn't I? Fuck me. Sometimes, honestly. But that is just going to finish off the interior very nicely, I think. It feels very strange being in here without a steering wheel. I feel like I'm in some sort of future car. Well, not a future car. A future car from the 80s. While I'm in here, I'm going to pop the instrument cluster out. I've done this a few times before, so I should be able to remember how to do this. I know there's a screw holding a thing in here, which you don't want to over tighten, by the way, otherwise you split this piece of plastic and you can't get it anymore, of course. So let's just pop that there. I'll bag all this up later. There's then a screw at either side, and then you can remove some trim. There's one screw, and that should now pop out, maybe, if I remember rightly. That's it. Yeah, the whole lot comes out. I actually very amateurishly re-felted these with some sticky tape, Velcro, because these have material on and it perishes. Anyway, that's the left side, and we need to do the same on the right. If I can find the screw hole. There we go. There's the other screw. So the reason it's not coming straight out is it's tucked under this lip here. So when you pop it back in, you need to make sure it tucks back in there, otherwise things won't sit correctly. What happens now? I genuinely can't remember. Is it just... Oh, that's it. You need to pop out these... I don't know what you'd call them, really. Corner flaps. They just pull out. You could maybe use a little lever or something, but I've got enough of a fingernail today. On that side, anyway. Yeah, got enough there as well. Pop them out, and then if I remember rightly... Yeah, I can just see in the dark there, there's a Phillips head screw. I'm going to need a longer screwdriver. Why didn't I bring the long one with me? No, I didn't. I'm reaching for the steering wheel there. There isn't one. I'm going to need the longer screwdriver for that. Right. See if I can find the head of the... Let's try this one first. There we go. I was just checking to see if this screwdriver is going to actually do it. So it seems to be a bit of an angle. Might need to get a different screwdriver. Oh, there we go. Are they loose? I don't know if they're held in. I can't remember if they're going to fall out on me. I feel like they're actually held in. Anyway, that's the cluster completely loose. Now, normally your steering wheel's in the way. Clearly, we don't have that problem. What you will need to do is... oh, Jesus. Yeah, without the leverage of the steering wheel, that's quite powerful. What you want to do is pull it down past its lowest point and hold it there. Because even at its lowest point, you don't really have enough room to get the cluster out. That's not going to be a problem for me today. Okay, those screws are not captive. There they go. There's one. I'll find the other one in a minute. 2 brass screws. So with those out of the way, you need to pull it forward, and there's 2 big connectors running this way down, if you like. So they're not horizontal, they're vertically mounted. So there you go, there's 1 and 2. So you need to disconnect them. I can't remember off the top of my head. I just need to fiddle about down there. Oh, there we go. At the far end, there's a thing to push in with your finger to release. Oh, it's released one end anyway. Let's just try the other one. So reach down the far end of it. That's it. Push that off. Let me just pop you back on my head. Let's just try this one again. It's definitely released at one end. How do you... Whoops, don't want to mess up that. Do they slide? There you go, and then slide down. Right, okay, so press the release thing and slide down. hopefully that's our cluster. So yeah, a few years ago I'd actually messed up. I'd connected an electrical connection somewhere incorrectly at some point, and one of my dials had gone past max, and the only way to reset it is to actually get in there, take the back off. I can't remember how to do it now, but you can get in there basically and you can dismantle all this. I'm not going to do that this time. If you want to see that, go see the other video. That can just sit down there for now. But the reason I took that out was I'm pretty sure, I need to make sure they go, they're different sizes anyway, they can't go back on the wrong connectors. I'm pretty sure there's going to be some fixings for the dash in here. That looks suspiciously like one, as does that. I don't know about going further down there. This is going to be an absolute nightmare, isn't it? But I'm hoping maybe if I start undoing that one and that one, there'll be two when we dismantle the glove box. Maybe that's it. Probably not. There's probably ones up in here as well. I could read the instructions, but you know, where's the fun in that? Just before we start on the dash removal nonsense, I'm just going to point out a few things that I know now that I don't in the clips that you're about to watch, if that makes sense. So first thing is, you'll see me finding these. Obviously they're tucked away, hidden under the dash. They obviously, as you can see now, are nothing to do with the dash. They just hold on this main air vent assembly at the top. So ignore me when I'm saying, oh look, I found a dash nut. It's not. Also behind here, I can't remember what gets removed to expose two nuts here and here. They don't need removing either. They are just some support brackets that are holding the front of the climate control unit. Don't seem to make any difference. It's completely solidly in there. But anyway, you don't need to remove those to remove the dash either. And finally, I did cover it briefly in the intro, but I don't think you need to remove this center console. I'm still not entirely sure. I think it probably makes it a bit easier lifting the dash out because they're sort of interlapping in this area, but you could probably get away with leaving it in. Don't quote me on that, I don't know. Anyway, it's not that difficult to remove, and it's a good chance to give all this a good clean, find any hidden treasure that you may have lost years ago down there. I thought I'd just show you quickly now the there's only 4 fixings you need to remove. So there's one at the base of each corner, so where it slopes around, you just need to undo that and its equivalent on the other side. And then up under the top of the dash, you'll see these studs. They just have a washer and a nut on, and there's an equivalent of that up on the opposite side as well, which you can see there. That's literally it. There are obviously some electrical connections to remove from the radio and the heating controls and all that kind of stuff, but you certainly don't need to remove anywhere near as much stuff as I have to get the dash out. So obviously if this was an instructional channel, which it's not, I would just point to there and there and save you a lot of time, is all I'm saying. What you're about to watch is for your entertainment only, me faffing my way through figuring out how this all works. I'm just thinking, because I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know if I need to remove the veneers or whether they can all come. I'm going to have to remove the computer, aren't I? Because that's going to be wired. Oh, I don't know. Maybe I can just disconnect that. I'm going to try and avoid removing as much stuff as I need to, but also I don't want to risk scratching the veneers at all. So if it looks like I need to remove them, I will. I think I probably do. But I am just going to remind myself of how these heater, cabin air heater things work. So I think if I take the veneer out, which should just pull out. There we go. It's come out with its clips. They do just pull out. It looks a bit violent. I think these, yeah, pull forward and off the vents. So that needs a good clean, and then that'll leave the vent in place. So as a minimum, I probably need to do that on the centre and that end as well. I'll just put that back in there for now, just so that, because I'll have to label which ones came from where. This one again just pulls off here like so. Does it come with 4 clips? Yeah. Need to be careful with these veneers because I spent a lot of money having them redone not long ago. Okay, that one was sort of pressed into that air duct. This one not so. Jesus Christ, not so much. What's that in there? There's the thing in there. Yeah, because that's all part of the dash, isn't it? So I think we probably are. Oh, it's gonna be a faff, isn't it? I've got to take that computer out again. If you watch the video where I reinstalled the veneer, I did not enjoy reinstalling that, but it looks like it has to be. These bits here and here look like they might be separate to the dash, but I don't know. That's going to be a sort of wait and see kind of thing. Now, one doesn't like to make assumptions, but I'm going to assume that most people don't have a minibar glove box. So this part of the video is very much specific to my car, but I'm just going to disconnect some very custom electronics. Get that out of the way. I then need to release the bicycle gear cable arrangement that controls this via that actuator. That's just a couple of 11 mils, I believe. Sorry about the glare, by the way, but I can't keep shutting the garage door. Can't remember how I wired this up now. I think I can leave the veneer on the lid. That's like that. And where's that wiring going? I can't remember. Maybe I actually put a connector in under there so that I could disconnect that. I don't actually remember off the top of my head, but let's go have a look. I see a connector. Why don't you lift it? Oh, it's magnets, that's why. Right, that can just dangle there. Right, that can sit down there out of the way so it doesn't get scratched. I think I'm just going to cut those cables. Right. That's just the gear cable ends. Yeah, it's got veneer on it as well. I need to be a bit more careful with that, don't I? Right, with those cables out, I just need to remove this sort of polished finisher trim that I put here, and then the box will lift out. I don't know why this is being so stubborn. Oh, hang on. That's a point. So the reason I'm yanking on that is, for years I didn't realise, where's my screwdriver? There's some fixing screws here, here, and is there one at the top? I can't remember, but there's definitely ones down the bottom anyway. And I never knew they were there for years, but I actually put this together properly the last time I put it together. There's one of them. So that will probably lift out now. Oh yeah, I've got wiring attached to it, haven't I? Get out. There we go. I was just catching my rather elaborate wiring. Oh yeah, I forgot about that limit switch thing, which I've just probably unsettled. Oh, I've got all that to do again later. Right. That needs... Can't do it one-handed, apparently. Disconnecting, that goes over there. That wiring, that can go with that. Right, I'm not looking forward to putting all that back together, but let's turn the torch on and let's have a look. Oh, let's just, while I'm here, just pop this side veneer off. Yeah, we've got 2 fixings there, that's good. And then that should pop out. Okay, that one comes completely loose. Well, I'll just take that one out then. Right, I've undone, ooh, can't get my camera in there, the one that was sat on the stud. If I can just focus on that. There you go. It was just sat on the stud there. So that one's out on the passenger side. I'm now just undoing this one that I found down. Torch has turned off because apparently I've got no battery left. So I'll do what I can before I have to charge up, but I'm going to take that one off now. I've been turning that for quite some time before I realised that it's just rotating at the back. I need to get another 13mm and then it might actually unscrew. Yes. I've done those 2 over there. I'm now going to do the obvious ones on the driver's side, which is that one and this, maybe. See what that does. Well, I just popped you on charge for a bit. While you were away, I just removed the computer and the 2 button things. I'm not going to cover that on camera again. I've done all that in the veneer project videos. So if you want to see that faff, yeah, go find that. And it is a faff. Oh yeah, that was it. So what I'm doing now is behind there, I saw these 2 bolts. So I'm going to attack them. The other thing I did while you're away was, ooh, the bolts are in there. Forgot about that. I'll show you on this one. These bits I think might need to come out. I'm not even sure yet, so I'm going to leave this one in for a minute. But they are held in by, where's the 2 bolts are nuts and washers. I think it's bolts and washers. Let me just remind myself. Oh, it's screws. There, they're held in with 2 screws and oval washers underneath, and then, oh yeah, I was going to say up top, but it's not. It's in there above the unit is 1 screw going into a what are they called? C-clip, I think. That one actually didn't have its screw in, which would explain why I've always struggled to get that bit of dash lined up. So I'll replace that screw when I come to do it. Yes. Right, let's get these 2 out. Oh look, it says Jaguar back. Jaguar cars. I never noticed that before. Why did they bother to write that in there? Right, okay, so that's it now. The dash will just lift out, won't it? No, not even close. I mean, it's absolutely solid still in there. There must be, oh fuck, what was that? Keep doing that, I keep hearing things. Oh, that was that, whatever that is. I saw that. Let me just get that before I lose it. Oh, I found that piece, by the way. It was just a little bit of protective trim. I assume it's to stop wiring from rubbing on something. I'll try and find where that goes later. So, I'm a bit stuck now. I don't really know where to go next. My 2 options really are take off these bits and see if there's anything holding, because I think I've worked out there's this lower frame running around. I think when I move the dash, that seems to move as well. I don't know. And that comes off there. So maybe well, that could stay on there. That's where that side's counterpart was sat. Don't know what I'm doing. Can't see anything else of any sense up in there. Can't really get in there. Oh, hang on, what's that? What is that? That is, that's where that is. That's the equivalent of what I undid on the other side. How the fuck did you get to that? I don't even know where that is. I can see it on the camera. Where's my camera? It's there. Right, okay. So I definitely need to undo that. Let's see if that makes any difference at all. Alright, to remove that air duct. It's a bit forceful bending it out of there, but I couldn't see any other way I was going to get on there. So spanner on that side, socket on the other, and I'll just nip that off. That has loosened things up, but it's still clearly held on in the middle somewhere. So I did just take this little panel off here just to check there wasn't anything obvious at the sides, and there isn't. So I've just resigned myself to the fact that I'm going to have to remove this centre, well, the radio console air conditioning thing. Let's put these bits in there, keep the place reasonably tidy. I think I've covered this in a previous video as well, but I may as well. I don't mind repeating this bit, putting that computer in and out. Never want to film that again. Didn't really want to ever touch it again, to be honest. But as long as I don't have to film it, I can deal with that. I don't mind filming this bit for you. Come on now. There we go. That's that. That should then ease off there. Is that true, or do I have to take the ski slope out? No, I don't. Right. Yeah, that just sits down there, doesn't it? Phillips head. Take the radio out. This crumble here, by the way, is from the main air vent. It's obviously completely perished foam. So 4 tiny screws for the radio. It's all tiny screws. All just asking to be dropped. Alright, one radio. Why did they put the fucking thing there? I can't get my nail in. Oh, yeah, it's going to be behind this whole... Is it really behind this whole centre thing? Have I really got to take all that out? Or is it just under the ski slope? Maybe. Probably not. Pop that off. Pop that off. That's back. Pop that up. Disconnect the windows first. Pop it up a bit higher. Disconnect the cruise control. Disconnect the cigarette lighter. Is that everything? Oh yes, just this little green connector for the light, for the wiring, for the cigarette lighter, which is always stubborn. I need to put a new connector on that. Alright, you go over there where you're not going to get scratched. I will put all this away properly later, of course. And I think that answers my question. Oh, I can take that off now. And then I think I'm answering my own question, which is this centre console's got to come out to get the dash off. Maybe. Shit. Make sure I know where that goes. Where did that disappear off to? Right, I've got to find that in amongst a lot of years of radio wiring. Yeah, it's a bit of a car crash up there. I can't see anything pertaining to the dash on there, which makes me think it's probably here running along, seeing as I can see the rail going down somewhere in here, and there's just nothing there. Great. Center console removal, I think is self-explanatory. You just kind of remove all the crap out of there, and then down here behind the back seats, found a flap, and there's probably supposed to be a nut there, but there isn't, and there's the same thing on the other side. So you just pull it out and I assume up with some degree of force. Maybe has it got stuck on the other one again now? Oh, I don't know. Let me just investigate. I just wasn't being violent enough with it. That is now free. I've just remembered I didn't remove the side panel from the other side, but I don't actually think it matters. I think that's all free now. I'm just going to try and lift it out. No, it's nothing to do with that. That was a complete waste of time. It's lovely and cosy without that thing there, and I can give it a good clean out. But do you remember I took that one off there? I think I've just found its counterpart on the other side. So I'm going to go around there and undo that. Yeah, found it. There's one there. I'll undo that. I can't see that being the final one, but you never know. Let's just nip that out. I think it's a 10mm. It was 11mm, not 10mm. I think I might have done it. I don't know if you need to remove the centre console. Probably not, although I think that bit's tucked behind it, so maybe you do need to just have it out the way. Right, I'm going to kind of try and lift this out. I think I'll do that from the other side, maybe. It's definitely off. Oh, there's still going to be some wiring, isn't there? That's a good point. Before we get too giddy, I've got some some lights here, so I'll disconnect them, and I've got some stuff cable tied to the actual sort of dash frame. So let's go over there and snip some of that off. Just pop this light out. I've done the one on the other side. It's not got much slack in the wiring, is it? That's fine. You can go down there. All right, let's just take a minute, get in here and have a good look. Yeah, got some stuff cable tied, because that frame I think is coming out with the dash. I think that is part of the dash. So I need to snip that off. Where's that earth that I saw? Oh, actually that's on the chassis. That's fine. Don't need to worry about that then. And we've got this. This is going to have to come out, isn't it? So as before, it's screw up from there and whoops, there. Let's get the key out of the way now, shall we? Bugger off. Yes, and 2 screws up in there and there. I'll just pop that unit out. One dash removed. I'd just like to try this evening, before I give up for the night, getting that little front cowl off. Just going to snip those cable ties and pull those vacuum lines out. See what happens. It's the next day. Now, I've not actually done any work today apart from tidying up. I like to stop mid-job and just sort everything out, kind of see where I'm at. It had just become a scene of absolute chaos in here last night. I just wanted to kind of understand where everything was, and I did figure some stuff out. I just hop in here again. So I was hoping to be able to remove this climate control unit, but I've realised that's probably a massive job. I have just uncable tied this loom so that I could see what was going on here. I've taken this front vent off, and I'll talk about that now. So pretty much for the whole time I've had this car, when I used to drive it and I used to put the fans on, I'd get little black soot everywhere, little sort of dust crumble stuff, and it was really annoying. I didn't know really what was going on, and doing this job I finally figured out what it was. On the back of here and around all the seals is a really fine foam. It's obviously there to seal things. Interestingly, they've not bothered to seal these ones that go off to the side vents. They just push on, so that's simple enough. I've kind of figured out how the center and top vents work. So there's these two vacuum pumps, and I guess when they have vacuum applied to them, as you can see here, they will pull in, and that opens this vent. And also the, oh, does it close those? Oh, I see. So when that opens, that closes that. I'm not quite sure of how exactly it works, but this was covered, the back of it, in foam, and obviously it's supposed to be, so I'm going to have to rectify this now. Don't panic. I've got a plan. But I had to get rid of it. And literally, if you touched it, it was just flaking off like wet cake. So I kind of ummed and ahed with leaving it, but like I said, every time I turn my air vents on, black crap is coming out, and I don't want that. So I decided to address it once and for all. I've hoovered it all off. I also had to get rid of the glue then that was behind it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some Velcro tape, the female side. Which side's the male and female? The soft side, basically. And I'm going to lift that up, and I'm going to put a nice new liner on that, so that when that closes, that's got its seal again. And also I will do the same around the, well, this vent. I can show you that actually. Whoa. That's here, because I've just been cleaning that up. So this bit, yes, sits. I'm not going to be able to do this with one hand either, am I? Bloody hell. Anyway, I don't need to click it in, but I can actually. That bit sits like that, and I think as I took that off, I did feel a little bit of glue and sealant around that lip break. So what I'll do is I'll run a bit of sealant on there when I put that back together, stick that on. And then this, the main bit that I need to address, this also had quite a thick foam seal, and that slots nicely into your centre air vent at the rear. At the minute it would just be flopping about, and all the air will just escape from all angles. So I will need to make some sort of foam seal in there. But I reckon I can manage that. And had I left that, like I said, even that bit as well, you literally had to touch it, and it just disintegrated. So I had to make a decision. May have been the wrong one. I maybe should have left it well alone. I've made myself a lot more work, but I couldn't really live with that any longer. So I also, did I mention, I looked at removing the air conditioning unit, and I can't figure out how. The one thing I have done is remove the top fascia, because the whole point of this was to get access, or rather clear access, to the back of the windscreen aperture. That's what I'm trying to say. Ideally, I'd have this bit out the way. I was kind of hoping, even if I couldn't remove the whole air conditioning unit, I could unscrew this, because this is a separate piece. It's called the vent thing. There's a part number, but it looks like it's screwed on at the front and at the back, so I guess you have to take the whole unit out to take this off. So that's a bit of a no-go. But the very top bit that sort of covers this bit, it's in the boot. I can't be asked to get it out, okay? Maybe you'll see it in some shots if I can find them for editing. And that's just pushed on here with some sort of one-way button push things. I managed to lever them off without damaging them too much with a screwdriver, and it looks like I'm going to be able to reuse those. If not, I'll think of something else. But that has at least cleared up under where I'm, well, the back side of where I'm going to weld. So I think that's a success. By the way, the previous owner of this car, he must have gone to France at some point. When I got it, I've been in here before, and there was quite a collection of French coins, old French coins, of course, because they've all got the euro now, haven't they, for many years. But there's one still in there. I'm going to try and get that out. What do we have here? 20 something. Will you focus, please? Oh no, don't do that. we go. 20 what? I don't know. Anyway, 20 cents, I think. 1984. Let's see if we can get the other one. I'm sure there's another one tucked in. Yeah, I can just see it poking out there at the side. I don't know who needs to question their life choices more. Me, for spending my evening searching for coins in my car and actually quite enjoying it, or you for watching. Oh yes, that was very successful. I believe they're the last two. I've had quite a few out of this car over the years. What's this one? That's upside down, isn't it? Half a franc. 19, what does that say? 91. Well, there you go. I'm going to call it a day there for this video. Next job is to tackle the welding in of these replacement panels. These came off a car in America, completely rust free. I've spent quite a long time, it was about a year ago now, trimming them ready for fitting. Whether I've got that correct or not will remain to be seen. But yeah, I'll cover those in detail in the next video. See you then.